By the end of this video, you're going to have a CV that's going to get you more invites to online tests and interviews in 30 minutes or less. This is a CV template that I've used to consistently help people get more interviews and more online tests than the CV that they had before. If you want to download the template and an example that we're going to be talking about in this video, then click down in the link in the description below and get that 9-page template for free. Stick around until part 3 of this video when I'm going to be screen sharing with you and walking you through that template to talk to you about the 6 things that your CV must have. In this 3-part video, we're going to cover who actually reads your CV and what makes the difference between somebody being accepted and someone being rejected, some basic formatting guidelines, and finally, the 6 parts that every CV needs. Part 1, who actually reads your CV and why do some people get rejected while others don't? This is a crucial lesson that I want to share with you and I find has been missed from virtually every CV video, blog or course that I've ever seen, and it is so simple. Once you learn this, it's going to change the way that you look at your CV and how it's written. Why is it that 2 people with virtually the same skills, education and experience can apply to the same job and one is accepted and one is rejected? Well, this is all to do with who actually reads your CV. If you're applying for a job through LinkedIn, Indeed, or a large company that uses an application tracking system like Talio, the chances are your CV is not getting read by a human. It is being parsed by a computer. Parsing means an algorithm is being used to look for particular keywords in your CV which match your job description. So let's go back to this example of 2 people. Person 1 has a regular CV and submits the same CV for lots of different types of jobs. Person 2 reads the job description. They make a note of the skills that are required for that job, of the responsibilities that are being asked to do within that job, and they amend their CV accordingly, so that there's at least a few of those skills and responsibilities in their CV which matches the job description. So out of person 1 and person 2, whose CV do you think is more likely to be accepted and passed on to the next round? If you want to test this out for yourself, you can take your CV right now and the job description for the job that you're applying to and go over to jobscan.co and use their free software to match your CV to the job description. And it's probably going to shock you what a low percentage your match is in terms of how similar an application tracking system would think your CV is in terms of its suitability for that job description. You can get up to 5 free scans with JobScan, and we've used them many times over the years. But here's a little tip. You don't need to get an 80% match rate and above. We found that a 50% match rate is good enough. Otherwise, you're going to be driving yourself crazy trying to optimize your CV for every single job that you apply to. Now you know that your CV is pretty much just getting screened for keywords. Instead of being read by a human, it massively changes the way that you look at your CV, which brings us on to how your CV should look, which we cover in part 2 and formatting. Honestly, it doesn't really matter a lot what your CV looks like. Since 2013 and 2014, I've used the same style and formatting for all the CVs that I've seen, which must be literally in the thousands by now, which is Arial 12 point, black writing on white text, and basic headings and bullet points. And always make sure that your CV is saved as a PDF when it's submitted. Why is that? Because your CV is going to get passed. The algorithm that passes your CV is going to be using something called optical character recognition. And OCR prefers a PDF over a Word document or something similar, where the formatting may get all messed up and they'll be reading words in the wrong order or in a way that does not make sense and does not help you. Other than that, it's pretty simple. Keep your CV to no longer than 2 pages. Certain industries like investment banking prefer a 1-page CV. And also, I recommend Arial 12 point. You don't have to use my font. But the point is, you don't want your font to be so small that when your CV does eventually get read by a human, they don't have to look at it under a magnifying glass. So now let's jump over to the screen share where we can cover the 6 important things that every CV should contain.
If you click the link in the description down below, you'll get the template, which looks something like this. So let me talk to you about the 6 things that you need to include in your CV. So in the template, it goes through the principles of CV for styling, and you'll see here on page 3 for structure. So first of all, of course, your name. And stick around to the end of this screen share when I'm going to show you an example where you can see all of this come together. If you have a name that people struggle to pronounce, then maybe put an English nickname in brackets. I know that some people might say, well, why do I have to do that? Unfortunately, there are some people in the world, if they struggle to pronounce your name, it might give them a reason not to give you a call, so don't give them that excuse. The next thing would be your personal details. This is literally just town and postcode only, no need for full address, your email, and a UK phone number. Don't give a phone number from somewhere abroad because people are instantly going to think that you're not in the UK. We also don't include a link to LinkedIn, as we find that it doesn't really get used, and we haven't changed that over the years. Next, the first thing should always be your education. You want to put that in chronological order with the most recent one first, and that's going to be same for all of the coming sections that we're going to go through. No need to put high school or secondary school qualifications, so the format would be date at the university, subject to university and grade, and then in no more than 2 or 3 lines we want to put in the modules. We don't tend to put in dissertations unless they're relevant to the job that you're applying to. The only additional extras we'd put it in education would be scholarships or professional qualifications. After that, we want to put in work experience. We tend to find that work experience that is less than 2 weeks is not really work experience. We'd leave that off. Again, same thing, date, job title, the company you worked with, and maybe a couple of lines just to explain. And really importantly, as we've already discussed, we want to make sure that we have the skills that are going to be picked up by the application tracking system. So if you're looking at that job description and you're thinking, well, these are the responsibilities, these are the skills, then you want to be including that in your work experience. If you don't have work experience, that's fine, just leave this section off. Next up, we'll have clubs, societies, or volunteering. Exactly the same format. We want to make sure to include those skills and those experiences. And finally, number 6 will be skills and interests, which is broken down into 3 sections: languages, IT, and interest. And make sure to put, are you beginner, intermediate, or advanced in those IT skills? And also, are you native, fluent, or intermediate? We tend to leave off anything that you can't have a conversation with in terms of languages. And finally, your hobbies. So that should leave you with something that looks a little bit like this. Let me just zoom this in for you so you can have a better look. So we're going to have, you can see the name, telephone number, address, email, education and modules, employment history, and we actually bold our skills. So we're picking stuff out here, adding it in or taking it off so that we're getting as close a match as possible to the job description. Remember, I talked to you about using JobScan. 50% or more is fine. That's what I tend to find. I don't have any science to back up those numbers, but JobScan is a really fantastic resource and you can get 5 free scans from that. Then also we've got extracurricular activities and finally skills and interests. Guys, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Make sure you download this template for free in the description below. Click subscribe, like this video, drop us a comment below and let us know how we did, and we will see you next time. Bye.